What does it take to make it to the Forbes list? I mean, what does it take to make it to the 1%ers? Abundance? That's the word I see everywhere. And I get it. It's the law of attraction. Act as if. There's no lack. I'm with it. But what about those who don't believe in it or are not even aware of it? What about them? They deserve abundance. We all do. We've just been given the wrong programming. We've been taught to limit ourselves, to be realistic with our dreams. I want to be an artist. Nope, you can't, son. That's fantasy thinking. You see that? But we damn sure were taught to spend money, dig our way into debt, buy that house, buy that car, that expensive clothing. Put all your money into 401k plan so that when you're old and wrinkly and can't even stand on your legs, you can finally enjoy the saved money. I think we should change that mentality. Let's talk about wealth. Now let's dig deep and embrace the strange. Something strange about wealth. So, there was this book, right? Richest Man in Babylon. And I'm like, I've been doing things not only the wrong way, but the hard way. I've been taking the long way instead of the shortcut. Guys, I was programmed with the wrong floppy disk when I was a kid. Something strange, ain't it? Because the American dream is to go to school, graduate, work and go to college. Graduate, work, get married, have kids, and buy a house. Work some more and buy a new car. Work some more and go on vacation. Nowhere in that floppy disk was I taught to pay myself some of the earnings. It's like waking up from a nightmare to only realize I wasn't even asleep at all. This stuff is really happening. I know. What did the book say? For those who have not read it and don't want to hear about it, now is the time to leave. So I was blown away by the simplicity of the story and by the lessons it presented for accumulating wealth. See, the characters, Manser, who was a chariot builder, and Kabai, who was a musician, both had become the best at their craft, but yet had no money and were poor. They went out to seek the advice of their childhood friend, Arcad, who, in contrast, had grown very rich and amassed fortunes. The lessons that Arcad provided for his friends was the premise of the book, and there are lessons of wealth building habits that I believe every rich person had followed to accumulate their wealth. And not just rich, wealthy people. Like I mentioned before, majority of people were not taught to pay themselves first. This is why a lot of lottery winners end up broke and back to where they started. See, you have to start thy purse to fattening. One of the greatest lessons the book has taught is this first lesson. When Bansir and Kabai seek the advice of their very wealthy friend Arcad, he tells them a story. Arcad was once a poor scribe who made a deal with a rich man to find out the secret to wealth in exchange for his work on a clay inscription. Now the rich man gave him a very valuable advice. I found the road to wealth, he said. When I decided that part, of all I earned was mine to keep, and so will you. Although this is a very subtle message, it is a very powerful in accumulating wealth. We cannot accumulate wealth if we do not save what we earned. We can do that by paying ourselves first and foremost before we spend any of the money we have earned. I mean, the US government has first dibs on our checks before we get our hands on it, right? They definitely pay themselves first, don't they? They pay themselves first with our money. This is why we must be vigilant to pay ourselves first with every money we earn. The book recommends that we pay ourselves 10% of all that we earn. For every dollar that we earn, 10 cents should go to pay the person you see in the mirror every morning. The difference between rich, financially stable people versus poor, broke people is knowing this first rule. Wealthy people pay themselves first, and poor people do not. Before we start paying others or start spending the money we earn, we need to pay ourselves first. Remember that. If you have not acquired more than a bare existence in the years since we were youths, it is because you either have failed to learn the laws that govern the building of wealth, or else you do not observe them. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. It should be not less than a tenth, no matter how little you earn, and can be as much as more as you can afford. Pay thyself first. See, nowadays, I don't even think 10% will even suffice. I mean, it all depends on how much you're making, and you also have to control the expenditures. See, if we have paid ourselves first, at least 10% or whatever have you of what we earn, that leaves us with 90% or less of our income to live on. Controlling our expenditures enable us to make good use of the money we have left over after we have paid ourselves. There have been many advice in frugality over the years, but I think it will not solve the problem for the majority of us until we truly define what money is to us, and also define the difference of need versus want, right? The best advice to becoming wealthy is to keep expenditures down even when our earning power increases. Many of us have the habit of spending more as we earn more, and it's not unusual to see someone splurging and suddenly their expenses go up as they start earning more. For example, if we suddenly have a $2,000 to $3,000 raise, it's best to maintain our current expense level as if the raise never happened. That's the trick. Instead, we can tuck that extra money away into our savings or investment. Controlling expenditures will mean living below our means. When we live below our means, we accumulate wealth faster. We can think of it in this way: our earning power is our offense, and controlling our expenditures is our greatest defense. See, and you also have to invest the money and letting it work for you. I personally believe that each and every one of us should think about investing only after we have built our savings and an emergency fund. After we have accumulated 6 to 8 months worth of expenses in our emergency fund, it is only then that we should consider about investing our money on other investment vehicles. Our emergency fund is a security blanket. Get it? If everything else is gravy, making our money work for us is a great way to accumulate wealth. There are many investment vehicles we can tackle, but the best thing we should all be aware of is that we should never invest in anything we do not completely understand. Investing our money will mean becoming knowledgeable about what we are investing in, as well as the repercussions if the investment does not pan out well, as well as our potential exit strategies when we are ready to take our money out. There are many ways we can invest our money, such as stock markets, real estate, businesses, and so on. We must do our diligent effort to find great investments so we ensure our money will multiply and work for us. We should also invest our money to ensure we have a steady and safe income while taking advantage of compounding interest we receive from our investments. Time is our biggest ally, and as our investments accumulates interest and the money we get from the interest earns interest, and so on. This is how we can make our gold multiply. The best way we can increase our earning is by investing in ourselves, right? We can do that by continually learning and striving to develop ourselves. We are now in a very exciting time, right? There's no excuses because the information age where knowledge is literally within our fingertips thanks to the internet. There's Khan Academy, the open courseware ideas where many schools, including Ivy Leagues, post their whole class courses for free. There are many things we can learn on our own and should strive to make ourselves well-rounded, whether we learn to eat healthier, enhance our current work skills, or learn to make more money. We must take that initiative to invest in ourselves. When we become smarter and wiser, our ability to earn more also increases. We should all be aware of this and pass it down to our children. I mean, there's nothing wrong with college, but not all of us are built for it. You can still make money without that piece of paper. I mean, so many successful people have accumulated wealth without any college background. Anything is possible. Don't need to pay any guru on YouTube to teach you how to accumulate wealth. Just go out there and buy a book. That's where they get it from. Them gurus are selling shovels to gold miners. Let's change that mindset and heart set. It's time we set that bar high. Dream big, bigger than you normally dream, because I would rather come short on a bigger dream than come short on just a big dream. Nothing strange about that.